Vapers, Everyday Vaper here again. Hardware review, this time the Lemo 2 from Eleaf. Very kindly sent to me by the team at gearbest.com. Check out their site for lots of deals on various vaping equipment. Also lots of discount codes. Link up there, also link below as well. And there's also a discount code for this Lemo 2 as well. Bring the price down to $29 at time of filming. Now, I've also got one of these to give away as well. So all you've got to do is watch the video. I'll explain at the end how you can get one of these. Let's start, as we always do, the age-old way of doing a hardware review. We're going to go down below, have a look at it in a bit more detail, what's inside the box, how we strip it down. So then we'll come back up and we'll talk about it a bit more. So let's see what's inside the box. We can slide it open and we got the Lemo 2 straight away. We could take it out of its case. We'll just have a look at that in a little bit more detail in a minute. We can pull out this insert here and another one. And what we've got straight away is the user manual. Lots of information, how to strip it, etc. We've also got this little thing here about how to prime your coil first, and also how to fill it. Then we've got in here some canthal, so we've got some 0.5mm canthal wire, some Japanese cotton, and some O-rings, a multi-screwdriver and some spare screws for the deck. So let's have a look at this in a little bit more detail. So looking at the styling, then we have a large, very large wide bore drip tip, and we can look deep inside the chamber there. We can just about see the coil. On the bottom we have the 510, it's non-adjustable. On the top here we have this little hole here, and this is your filling hole, so we can turn that to open. And then we have the glass Pyrex chamber part here, it's very large. And on the bottom we have this airflow, which is adjustable on both sides. It's quite a good looking piece of kit. We could strip it down then, we could take the drip tip out, it's held on with these two O-rings. And then we have again this very large, wide bore chamber here. We could screw off the top and take out the glass, and there's our deck. Let's just have a look at this chimney section first here. So we can unscrew that. It's held on inside there. You've got an O-ring. There's also an O-ring on the chimney deck itself, just there, and we have the chimney here. So looking at this coil then here, it comes pre-coiled, pre-wicked. It's up to you whether you use it. We can strip it down even further, and what we have here is the centre part, and there's your centre pin there, your positive pin, and that's the airflow chamber. And then this here, you can see just about see the airflow hole there, with your centre pin there, with an O-ring, and it comes pre-wicked as well. If we take the wick out, we can have a look at the actual deck itself. You have these two little holes here where you can put in your coil to make it, or you can use the screws. Now through experience it's actually easier to use the screws. It's quite fiddly to use that. You have your peak insulator there, and you've also got these juice channels here which are quite deep. When we put the glass chamber on, you notice that there's not a great deal of space between the chamber and the actual juice holes, especially when we attach this chimney part here. Now the actual threading on the chimney isn't the best. It's not as smooth, it takes a little while to bite. We put that on here. You can see it's quite a narrow chamber there going down into the juice channels where the juice sits, which could cause problems for your higher VG juices. If we put the chamber top, the chimney top back on, what we have here is a very wide bore chimney, and it's actually wider than the 510 air hole, which there's no real reason to do that. It should be the same size. It makes the drip tip very, very wide. So what we'll look at in a second is how to rebuild this. So let's look at how we rebuild it then. I'm not going to show you how to coil it. There's lots of videos on the YouTube and on the internet that you can find how to recoil it and re-wick it. But we've got our coil and wick in place there, and we've got the first part of the chimney on. We're going to get our base section and we're going to screw it on. And that's nice and smooth threading on that. Then we're going to get our top of our chimney and place that on because we know our coil's in place. Put the glass chamber on, and then we get the top section and we screw that on. Then we can get our drip tip and place that. And that's the Eleaf rebuilt. So that's a Lemo 2 in close-up. Let's look at how we refill this.
So next we're going to look at refilling our Lemo 2. First thing to do is ensure that our airflow is closed. And then we're going to open up our juice filling hole, fully open, like so. We're going to get our juice and holding our Lemo flat, place our juice inside the hole and just give it a good squeeze, and it will fill quite quickly. We can then start to angle it up until it's full. Close off our juice hole, and then we can reopen our air hole, and that's it, filling the Lemo 2.
So as you can see, this thing chucks. I've got a 0.5 ohm build in here, and I'm only running it at 30 watts, and it chucks. I've not had a problem with dry hits. I've seen a lot of people have had problems with the Lemo 2 leaking and things. I've not experienced the leaking myself. So what is the Lemo 2? Well, it's a rebuildable tank, as we've seen, and it also goes down to 0.3, so you can put 0.3 ohm bills in there. Because of the peak insulator, it makes it safe to use that. It's also got a large chamber, so it's holding about 3.5 mil of juice. But bearing in mind, if you're putting a low ohm build in there, you're going to get through the juice, because this thing certainly eats it up. So what's good about it? Well, it's a good looking bit of kit, isn't it? And it chucks the vapour. The top filling, well, it has its plus points and its negative points. Plus points are, it doesn't mean you have to bottom fill anymore, so you don't have to take it off your mod. And it's supposedly less messy, but you've got to have the right kind of bottle to fill it with, I've found. I've been using this for a couple of weeks now just to give it a thorough review. And what I've found is, filling it with things like dropper bottles or even wide nozzle plastic bottles, if you don't get the bottles full in there, it's very difficult to fill because it creates a vacuum and squirts the liquid back at you. You have to get the nozzle of the bottles right deep inside there. Also, you've got to make sure that this airflow is shut off. I was playing around with it. I thought you didn't have to, but you do, because it creates all kind of gurgling problems. But it's never leaked on me. And I've never had a dry hit off it. I've not really had any major problems with it. Building it, I tried building it with using the little holes that you've seen in the close-up, and it's tricky as hell because you've got to bend them in the right position, etc. Using the screws on the build deck is a lot easier to build. It means you don't have so much lead as well on your coils, and it just makes that building process a lot more simple. Like I say, you can put a 0.3 ohm build on here. It's got a nice big deck, so you can put 3 mil diameter coils in there as well. The wicking you've got to get spot on. Make sure that wicking, as we've seen, is just sitting on the shoulders of just on the shoulders of the build deck. You don't want to have it blocking the juice channels, because otherwise you're going to get all kinds of dry hit problems. But it's very, if you ever built a K-Fun, it's the same as building on a K-Fun. It's just you can go lower with it. Now, it's got a massive drip tip, and that's huge. Now, some people don't like big drip tips, and it's got this huge bore chamber going down in there. Now, the bore chamber is wider than the air intake, the 510 air intake, and I don't really see the reason for that. It doesn't enhance the vape, it doesn't improve the vape. There is no real reason to have a drip tip and a chamber that is, or a chimney that is wider than your air intake. But I like it. It's a good bit of kit. You know, it's you can put it alongside the RBA deck on a Subtank Mini, on Delta 2, and it beats them because it's a pure rebuildable tank. For flavour, this thing is awesome. Like I say, I've got a high VG juice in here, and I've got the channel wide open, the air channel wide open, and it's a 0.5 ohm coil, and I'm running it at 32 watts, and the flavour is awesome, and it's chucking vapour. It's just a bit tricky to fill, and also I noticed that some people have had problems with it. I've not had any problems with it. But if you want a good rebuildable sub-ohm tank, then this is one to definitely try. You can also use it in higher ohm coils. You don't have to go sub-ohm with it. You can use a higher ohm coil, and you can adjust the airflow to suit. So if you want a tighter draw, you can sort that as well. If I close the airflow off here, it's obviously not going to be as tight as a K-Fun or something like that. So it's not really ideal for your mouth to lung hitters. It's definitely a lung hitter. This it's nice and easy to clean as well. It's very simple to strip down. There's no awkward bits that take a while to dry out. Another problem that I could possibly see is you don't get a spare Pyrex glass tank, and that could be a bit of a problem because if you break it, you're going to have to get a spare. I've heard that the Atlantis version 1 glass tanks fit this, which is quite useful. So as I said before, you can get it from gearbest.com. Now they very kindly sent me one that I can give away. So as usual with all my giveaways, all you got to do is be subscribed. Be subscribed. Got to be from the UK as well because I'm not paying for postage around the world. And just comment below. So if you want a Lemo 2, comment below, be subscribed. So that's the Lemo V2 or the Lemo 2 from Eleaf. You can get that from gearbest.com. Check it out.